They say some calls never really end. In 2018, a local police department in northern Illinois received a 911 call that still haunts the officers to this day. The call came from a woman named Sarah Collins, terrified, whispering that someone was inside her apartment. The dispatcher tried to calm her down, sending a patrol car immediately to her address, apartment 404 Ridgeview Complex. But when the officers arrived, the truth they found there would make national headlines and leave more questions than answers. At exactly 2:47 a.m., 911 dispatch received a trembling voice. You can still hear the fear in her tone on the archived recording. Sarah said, "Please, he's in my apartment. I can hear him breathing." The dispatcher said, "Ma'am, stay on the line. What's your address?" Sarah said, "Ridgeview, apartment 404. Please hurry." The line crackled, then silence. The dispatcher listened for over 20 seconds before the call ended. The trace confirmed the call came from inside apartment 404. Officers Daniel Holt and Rebecca Lewis arrived on scene at 2:56 a.m. The hallway lights flickered as they climbed to the fourth floor. But when they reached the door marked 404, they found something strange. A heavy metal padlock was fixed to the outside of the door, sealing it shut. The lock was rusted, old, covered in dust. No way someone had just locked it moments ago. They called maintenance to cut it open, assuming maybe the wrong unit was listed. But when the manager arrived, his face went pale. "That apartment's been sealed for years," he said. "No one's lived there since the fire." Police records later revealed the truth. 4 years earlier, in 2014, a fire had broken out in that same unit. A woman named Sarah Collins had died inside, trapped by the smoke before help could reach her. Her death certificate was on file. Her body was identified. There was no mistake. Yet the call they received came from her number, her old landline, disconnected since the fire. When they finally opened the padlock, the officers entered cautiously, flashlights in hand. The air was cold, unnaturally cold, and thick with dust. Inside, everything was exactly as it had been left after the fire. Charred walls, broken glass, and melted plastic. But in the middle of the living room sat an old telephone, blackened, half melted, resting on the floor. And its line light was still blinking. They unplugged it, but the light stayed on for several seconds before fading out. Officer Holt later reported feeling a presence, like someone was standing just behind him, watching. Lewis confirmed the same. Their body cams both glitched during the inspection, frames freezing for seconds at a time. A week later, the 911 audio was sent to a forensic lab for analysis. The results were disturbing. Behind Sarah's voice, faintly, there was another voice. Low, male, whispering. The technician enhanced the recording. It sounded like it said, "She shouldn't be here." And then, just before the line cuts off, you can hear a scream. But the scream wasn't coming from Sarah's end. It came through the dispatcher's line, as if someone whispered directly into the operator's headset. The case was quietly closed as unexplained interference. The building management replaced the locks, and no one ever moved into apartment 404 again. But one detail remained that still disturbs investigators: the call log timestamp. According to the telecom records, the call from Sarah Collins' number came from an inactive line, disconnected since 2014. The call had no digital routing path. It simply appeared. Some believe it was an echo, a moment from the past that somehow replayed itself. Others think Sarah was trapped, her spirit reliving the last moments of her life, calling again for help that never came. To this day, the 911 dispatcher refuses to work night shifts, and apartment 404 remains locked, untouched, because no one can explain who made that last call. If you ever hear a phone ring from an empty room, maybe don't answer.
If you enjoyed this true paranormal case, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own unexplained story in the comments. Because sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that really happened.